This one's going to be a bit different. If you haven't seen my video recently where I fixed Game Boy Advance button pads that look awful, this is kind of the same video, but for the GBC. It's just a little bit different. These are from Froggo Customs, and these are meant for boards like this that have bad corroded pads, or button pads like these ones that are just unfixable. I mean, the corroded ones really aren't fixable either because they're too far gone. But you get these flex cables and you put them over the top like this, and then they line up in a way that the Game Boy will actually be able to read them. You have to connect them to the button vias, and bing, bang, boom, you got your buttons back. No issues there. You can theoretically just cover all of this in solder, but those are going to oxidize super fast, and your button presses will just go back to being like this way, way sooner than anybody would want. It's not the right way to do it. It's a quick fix. It's not the proper way to fix them. Do not do it that way. Get some flex PCBs like this and cover up the original pads so they have new, fresh gold contact. Okay? Plus, gold is just better for button presses than solder. So these boards would make your button presses more accurate than solder would anyways. There is a caveat to this, even though it is nice that you can have just blank pads, or you can solder on some clicky switches like the SP switches if you would rather have that. I am very against that. You can go watch my rant that I'll link down below. I think I might have turned that into a short. I'm thinking about that. I don't know. But the downside to this board is, unlike the last one for the GBA, the vias that were soldering the flex board to the Game Boy Color board, those vias don't line up with anything on this board. So what we're going to do is we're going to tape this down and solder each of these points with wires to different points on the board. And I really am not looking forward to that because that's a lot of extra work. The other ones were super easy. And yeah, the reason why I have these out is because we're going to be doing it to this, and this is a bit of a different situation. This Game Boy Color was a video that I made a long time ago, which was a clicky button mod for the Game Boy Color, which I will say that even though this is a lot louder, this feels so much better than any other clicky button mod out there. The problem is it does not fit in the shell. So I'm actually going to remove the clicky switches that I put in this, and then we're going to use these because I believe I soldered directly to the button pads for this mod. Yeah. Oh, no, I did use wires for this. Oh, this is like completely reversible. Of course it is, because I was smart. Aha, I did solder to this. I knew I soldered to this. Okay. I double-sided taped a lot of these down. That's actually good. That means I only have to do it to one, because honestly, I just don't want to do it to all of them. It's going to be so annoying. Obviously, you'll see in a second. I was going to say, I'll show you. Duh, I'll show you. That's what the point of the video is. I'll probably even reuse these wires. Also, don't judge me. This was like, oh man, nice. Do judge me. Just kidding. Just ripped one of those off. Not that big of a deal though. Okay, I'm going to snip this one off before I do the same thing. Thankfully, it's not that big of a deal. I only soldered to 2 vias in the entire thing. Nice. Please don't judge me too much, as I was going to say, because... Oh, I did solder to another via right over here. Cool. Glad I found that. I did this very, very early on in my YouTube career. Well, I guess not in my YouTube career. Early on in my Game Boy modding career. That's why it's pretty amateur. I mean, I still make some pretty amateur crap, but we are going to just probably put some flex down, make this a little easier. Get up to 300 degrees Celsius, rip all of those negative pads off because I did have to connect all these to ground. I'm not going to study this too much because this is some weird stuff going on. Okay. I'm just going to clean all of the old flux off of this real quick and snip this off. And apparently I forgot this pad for down, or at least this double-sided tape that you'd think would come off easier with the isopropyl alcohol. There we go. Okay, cool. All of these button pads except for B look great. So I'm just going to put this on for A and B. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to line this up. I'm going to tape it down with some Kapton tape. So I'm just lining it up with the holes here just until we can get this locked down. Which, okay, I'm looking at this board now and I'm really hoping that this is like one of his first products because I think he did end up making a new version of these where they just have the clicky switches installed off the rip, and they do line up with the vias properly. He has us like securing this in place with the ground pad here, but he's got a ground via. So I don't know if I actually need to solder to this to ground. It shouldn't need to, but I guess I could like see if they connect with my multimeter. I'll do that real quick while this is warming up. Get some continuity here, here to here. And no, there is no continuity between these. So I'm gonna have to connect a wire from here to here so I can get ground. Interesting. Or wait, what? Okay, so if I connect these two together, if I do this, because this connects to this connects to this, so then I have to bridge this to get this to connect it there. Okay, I'm very confused. I'm gonna guess this is one of his first projects. I'm not gonna rag on him too much. I really don't mean to be mean. I'll just say I would like to see this redesigned. It would benefit from a redesign, and just using the clicky button version that you have that seemingly looks and works better, but without the clicky switches, or just make the clicky switches optional like you had here. And maybe they are, and he just sells them with the clicky switches on it already, but you could, release those boards, because this is the only thing I could find on the internet. Granted, I did not search that deep, but I did look at his website and everything. I don't even think he has these on his website anymore. We're going to do this, just add a bunch of solder there. We bridge those points, and we're going to add a bunch of solder here. Okay. I'm going to lift up my Kapton tape a little bit so we can get more solder on this. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Okay, so I'm just going to have to line this up myself. Now what I'm going to do is cover this up like that. And then I will reflow the solder here with some flux to hopefully flatten all this out. And then we can put some solder here. We can put some flux here and here. Add some little dots there. And we can take our wires that we used earlier, or that we stole from earlier. You'll probably have to create new ones. And solder them to those little holes, those little circles that we just added solder to. And then for the vias, we do need to prepare them a little bit. What I like to do is take my screwdriver, and I like to put a very small Phillips bit on the end. This is the 000. And then I'll take it over the via and just spin, spin, spin. Because there's a coating on the gold parts of these vias that we need to scrape off. And honestly, this is the safest, easiest way I've found to make that coating go away and make these vias shiny, so we can actually get some solder latch onto it. So I'm going to route my wires in kind of a funky way, but first I'm going to actually put solder down on both of these pads, and we're still going to want some flux for this because these are stubborn. There we go. And then we're going to solder A down on this one right here, the farthest, and then the next one over is going to be our B. That is what we like to call good enough. I should probably be using better wires here, but we're going to cover this in Kapton tape. I'm first going to move the wires up a little bit, put some Kapton tape down right here, and then I will cover these later, but I'm going to mod this and I need those vias available. I'm not going to cover it just yet. I'm just going to leave this tape over there, and then I'm going to route these wires in a way that they won't get messed up by any screws or any shorting, and that seems to be pretty decent. So I'm going to cover up all of this with that Kapton tape I used earlier, so there's no shorting over here. And again, since we only have one spot really holding it down to the board, I'm going to cut this up, and I don't want to cover up the button pads or any holes in the motherboard. So I am going to run some Kapton tape over the top like this, so it secures this part up here down as well. I could add some more Kapton tape down here if I wanted to, but I think it's fine. This corner raises up a little bit, but once everything's said and done, it shouldn't be an issue. Okay, I'm actually just gonna try and cover up those right now, just like that. I should still be able to get to that last via, or these vias actually connect up here, so I'll probably just solder to the vias that I need to up here, so I don't have to even mess with these things down here, because to get 3 wires soldered together right there is kind of difficult on its own. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to do a time lapse of me modding this, and then I will come back when everything is fully modded and we can test the buttons and everything. Here we are. This was a bit of a weird one. you can kind of see the board underneath there. It does look like it lined up perfectly, so that's good. And for some reason, this one shell in particular did not come with a new screw nor IR blasters. So I'm glad that I still had the original shell out so I could reuse the parts that I needed to. The one time recently where I actually tear down the Game Boy at the same time that I'm modding it. Anyways, turn that on. Volume is all the way down. Let's try this again. We've got the, okay, well, we can adjust this. Good thing the touchpad works, and start and select work great. A and B work fine. Only problem is, I'm gonna need to do this again for the D-pad. Awesome. One moment, please. All right, let's test this. Turning it on, still sounds good. Touchpad still works. Yep. Start, select, B, right, A, left, B, down, A, and up. Cool. Works great. Right and left didn't even work before, but now we're all working. Cool. And you can't really see anything. The little flex board, since this is an orange shell, even though it's clear, I really can't tell where it comes out. Like, I know it comes out here, but you can't really see it. Like, you can't see that. You can see the wires poking out down there. You can see the wires and a little bit of the board. Like, you can see the board there, but it's pretty much invisible. So at least it's got that. But that's really it for this video. If you want this mod in particular, it'll be up hopefully right now. I don't know when this video is coming out. I'm trying to get ahead because I have a trip in June. So I'm recording this in May, but I'm also going to list this right now, well before the video comes out. So this might be up for you guys, but it might be sold by then. Who knows? It's not like I don't have orange and black Game Boy colors up for sale quite frequently. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I never really do call to actions on this channel. I really should do that more. Please subscribe. It's the end of the video, and I recorded this for an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know why I'm still waving.